today. Maybe I'm on day one of a 6-month search. Don't know, right? So this really isn't another objection. All it is I'm just looking. So I can say these 1,000 different ways, but the reality of it is, it's only a key core 4 or 5 that actually come out. So when I go to the needs assessment, I want the customer to come into the dealership. I want them to sit down. I want to gather the useful information, not only for the customer's benefit so I can help them, but I also want to know. Right here's the phase where I get to find out whatever problems I may have, and I want to start developing my sales game plan so that I can avoid problems in the future and take myself from beginner to mid-level and move from mid-level to the mastery phase. Because again, I will close 100% of the objections I don't get, right? So the needs assessment. I got people standoffish. So why do I need to go inside, right? And I want to look around first. That's it. Only 2 reasons why they won't come inside. Step 3 is selection. This is a part of the phase that you should be alone. You should have gathered the proper information so that you can go out and pick the right product to come back and highlight based upon the customer's hot buttons, right? Touch the hot buttons, avoid the cold buttons, and we'll teach you later how to do a mastery level presentation. So you should get 0 here, right? The presentation demo, you're going to pick up some here, right? I've already driven one. I just want to see the numbers first. Okay? Which is my favorite one. Because what the customer's really telling you there is listen. Yeah, so I buy everything. And the reality is I have a certain budget, but doesn't mean a lot to me. So if you show me something and I get all excited and I feel it's cool and I need it and I want it and I'm going to impress the Joneses because that's what I do, then no matter what the numbers are, I'm going to buy it. So when I get that customer, it's like putting a drop of blood in the water for a shark. You got my full attention, and I'm going to make sure that you absolutely 100% get behind the wheel of that car, because I know if I do, I have a sale, and maximizing my yield is a secondary thought, because you already told me, listen, I'm just going to pay more for something I like and think's cool. So I want the numbers first. Hey, I'm just out doing research today. I didn't plan on driving one, right? Timer crunch, right? Again, going back to the time thing. Oh, well, I only allocated so much time today to actually do this, so I'm going to have to come back at a later point in time. Okay? You can have a third baseman. Well, you know, I'm out shopping for my wife. The reality is that she just absolutely hates you guys. So I'm out here doing all the legwork first, okay? They never say that, but that's the true intent behind it. So I look at this. What other possible reasons could we figure out as to why people wouldn't want to go on a test drive? Well, I've already had one. I've already driven one. Owned one. The same thing as already driven. You know, I just want to see the numbers first. Hey, I'm one of those guys that's going to research for 19 months, look at Consumer Reports, Best Buy, J.D. Powers. I'm going to do it all prior to even taking a test drive. And then maybe a month from now, I'll think about looking at some numbers. And sometime way, way in the future, if you happen to be the lucky winner, I'm in. I don't have time, which is most likely a smokescreen objection, which we'll cover that later, or a third baseman. That's your list. So I come over to my service department. Why would somebody not want to be introduced to my parts and service? Well, they don't/won't use us. Now that's 2 objections. I don't use you and I won't use you. Based upon the inference of the word, don't means that what? I could, but I'm making a conscious decision not to, as to whether won't would signify to me saying, listen, I won't use you because maybe there's a geographical restriction and it's just so inconvenient to get down there and something like that, or hey, maybe it's for my daughter and she's going out of college, or whatever the situation is. But that's the 2 that you get there. Now, your active trade appraisal. Again, Should be no objections. Easy part of the process. Now we get to negotiating. Here's where all the worms come off top of the can, right? Like, oh my God, they're going to say all kinds of things in here why they can't buy. Well, think about it. Think about your own sales process. Why would somebody not buy? Well, let's look at it. So let's start with I have a problem with, and in our case, it's price, trade, didn't get enough for the trade, right? Which if you ever bought a car, you understand. The amount of money they had to put down in order to conclude the transaction. Finally, a payment. And then we have a few others, right? Got to think about it. Some spin-offs here. I got to pray on it, sleep on it, or, again, that evil little word we don't like in sales, we're either one-legged or we got a third baseman. Okay? So look at my board. We took car sales, which is one of the biggest selling industries in all the world, and we started with a variable or invariable process. In the matter of just a few minutes, I have eliminated all the variables for you. Because there they are. That's 100% of your objections. Now listen, if you take your sales process and do the homework that I've asked you and begged you and pleaded you to do, because I truly want you to get better, this isn't for any other reason than sharing my knowledge with the thousands of people that have asked me to do something like this. Here it is. I can break down every one of your steps to the sale in a matter of about 15 minutes, come up with the exact same list, and then I'll turn around and give you the answer for every single one of them. And we're going to do that with this. So let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So there's only 21 things that could ever happen in a car sales process, the automotive buying process, that could ever stop you from selling a car. Pretty profound information, right? Here's the deal. If you were a master at 21 things, you would instantaneously sell more cars, make more money, win the records, win the trips, win the Rolexes, buy the nice house, the cars, save money, put your kids through college, whatever it is you're trying to individually accomplish. Your management opportunities open up, and farther and farther and farther you can climb that rung as long and as high as you want to go. But the reality of it is the first principle we learned during this is the fact that I don't care what sales process you have, it is not an invariable process. Or it's not a variable process, excuse me. It is an invariable process. You have a finite number of excuses, objections, smokescreen situations that you can come up with that's going to prevent you from going from one step to the next and from the next down to sign right here, I'll get it cleaned up for you. Now, assuming you were paying good attention and you caught the very first thing that I said, and I said, listen, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to take you from a 16% closing ratio, which is what the statistics is in the car business. Each specific industry is going to have its own, and take you from 16% to 50%, thus giving you a 34% increase just like that. So let's look at it. So from the time I meet a customer, from this step where I say hi to the customer, to getting them all the way down through here to where they finally do this and they sign on the bottom line, this process from the first time you've ever met a customer, National Closing Ratio says, listen, you're going to have a 16% ratio of success. Or that's what your laws of averages is going to be. Now, I want to identify each step individually. Well, I really don't. I just want to go to this one because this is what we're all concerned about. Because you could be the best up here and the worst down here and make no money, right? You could be the best up here and horrible down here and make some money. But the only time you're going to make all the money and get all the awards and everything you want to achieve is when you're great up here and you're great here and you get a whole lot of these. Okay? So let's look at it. I just told you that from here to here is a 16% closing ratio. Any guess what this step, once you get a customer to the negotiating table, sitting down with a paper in front of them that has their financial parameters, to where if they say yes, they can immediately take ownership of your product or your vehicle, what do you think the closing ratio is there? Hey, you're right. It's 50%. You will close 50% of the people that you put on paper. That's how it goes. Because look at your alternatives. If you're up here, you've not even asked them to buy a car or any product. When you're over here, same thing. Same thing, same thing. You have a 100% chance up here of selling nothing because you haven't got to the point where you've asked them for anything. So 50%, just purely looking at your outcome. Hey, buy this. What are you going to say? Yes or no, right? That's your possible outcomes. So 50%. I'm no mathematician, but in a matter of 6 minutes now, I have shown you a way, at least giving you the core concept of understanding, listen, you have an invariable sales process, don't care what you do, don't care how you do it, don't care where you do it, don't care what you sell, right? You give me your steps to the sale or whatever you term to call those, whatever process you have of taking a customer acquisition and moving them through the process of building value, knowing who you are, building rapport, demonstrating the product, showing what you and your company has to offer, and ultimately getting them down here to ask them to go ahead and conduct business with you. You can take these and get the most negative Nancy person that you work with and yourself to sit down and say, listen, here's this. Give me every reason why you wouldn't let me do it. Write them all down. And you're going to see most of them are going to correlate. And you go, well, that's that one, so that one's not a real one. And you're going to get down to the base objections. And in the car business, 21. So if you sell cars, you know friends that sell cars, you can go to them and you can laugh or giggle or do whatever you want to do and say, listen, man, I have unlocked the keys to the car industry. I get it now. Did you know that between you and every sale, no matter what the customer was like, no matter when they came in, there was only 21 things standing between you and selling a car and making the kind of money you wanted to make? And they're going to go, kind of that dog look, you know, when he makes a funny noise and he turns his head at you. They won't believe you until you show them and break them down. So immediately you can take this, do this for your own profession, know exactly what you got to work with, right? And you can impress your friends, and tomorrow you can go in and teach your boss how to go do something. So folks, stay tuned, The Ultimate Closer. We're coming right back. I'm going to go ahead and show you, and I'm going to break these down one by one by one by one, and I'm going to give you the closes. I'm going to give you a brief overview of a few of them because, you know, that's just what we do. I'm going to teach you how to transition objections. I'm going to teach you how to move people wherever you want to go, right? And I'm going to do those things. So hang in. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in a minute.